Welcome, everyone, to another Market Conversations. Tonight, I'm excited to have a truly international show. I, of course, broadcasting from Costa Rica. Our incredible producer, Brady, doing all the switches and all the stuff behind the scenes from New York City. And our special guest tonight, Crypto Eddie from Tokyo, Japan. Now, it has been an incredible week in crypto. The momentum for digital assets in the what we would call institutional space, it seems like home run after home run is being hit. Just yesterday, Mass Mutual, an incredibly large insurance conglomerate on the East Coast, out of Massachusetts, of course, announced that they're adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet in the tune of $100 million. We also have the introduction to the legacy stock market equities system of Bitwise. Bitwise has created a fund where they are indexing the top crypto assets, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Bitcoin Cash, etc., and having that available through an over-the-counter representation that's available to anybody with an E-Trade account, TD Ameritrade account, Charles Schwab account. Institutional adoption is happening before our eyes. All the things that we have talked about for so long and have been reported on for even longer by our special guests. Let me bring in Crypto Eddie. Eddie, so great to see you. Want to say hi to everybody?
Hello, everyone. Nice to see everyone.
It is absolutely great to have you here tonight. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation. Why don't we start off with something we started to crack the conversation off camera. You mentioned you believe we are entering a historic event in crypto, and I'd really appreciate if you could elaborate on that.
Well, I think there's Dakota. I think we just experienced history in the making in a huge way. This was a significant step towards XRP entering into the DeFi space and smart contracts. And it's very unique because this is a project. Of course, Flare Networks is taking different pieces of different blockchains. So you're seeing a combination which is really unique and rare with Ethereum and Avalanche consensus, and then you have the XRP settlement. This is a solution that developers are going to be able to easily build applications that go way, way beyond just a simple peer-to-peer transactions. And this is also quite important for those that are in the XRP space because it's adding utility, which is tremendously helpful. And I'm very interested in talking to the other person who's going to join later, because I think you're going to see these traditional financial services that are in lending, all different types, even those managed IRAs and insurance. I think you're going to see these big entities who are getting into the space. They will probably also offer decentralized solutions in the future, because that is the way it is going.
You know, I obviously am in the space. So obviously I can remember it was maybe 3-4 months ago, whatever. I get a call from Mickey B. Fresh. Jerry, have you heard about this Flare Networks thing and what they're doing? And I said, no, obviously it hadn't crossed my radar yet. And he was so excited. He had somehow caught wind of it really early, got a hold of the white paper, read it, got extremely excited, and was sharing it. And it was like, okay, this could be interesting. I mean, obviously, for me as an investor, anything that can have a positive impact on my primary investment, I'm happy about, right? I want to hear about it. But I didn't really start having any kind of really reaction to it, I'll be honest, Jerry, until I started to fully understand that it's not just Flare Networks coming out with a smart contract element to add, right? Utilizing the settlement layer, right? Not just utilizing the settlement layer of the XRP ledger and leveraging the ability to interface with oracles or the virtual machine through the Ethereum platform, but really the scope of this is really much larger than that. Obviously, smart contracts and the ability to program money is huge by itself, right? You don't need, that's really big. But when you start looking at the fact that they have this other entity kind of on top, this Flare Finance, which actually has defined roles, right? They're talking about Flare X, Flare USD, Flare Loans, Flare Mutual, Flare, is it mining? Flare Mining. I'm like thinking to myself, if you could apply the speed and finality and cost, the efficiency of the XRP ledger with all these other functions that we're seeing today, it makes a lot of sense. Because I for one have used stable coins. They're okay. They're faster than ACH payments or wire transfers and things of that nature, but they are not that fast. They are expensive. I can't tell you how many times with Tether I've paid a $4.95 network fee. You know what I mean? It's really heartening when you know how fast and when you know what XRP Ledger can do. You use those things and you go, wait a second, this is crazy. So why don't we dive into some of the elements that we've discussed that's coming to this that you personally go, you know what? I think I want to get involved with that.
Well, it's the combination of different technologies that's really stands out for me. It is arguably the most decentralized network in the world. We saw history in the making with that capture of the index. It was on the ledger today. I don't know if you saw, there is the actual ledger index snapshot that Flare did. It ends in 580. You can find it on the Flare Twitter feed, and where all of the XRP then was captured in that snapshot. And then it closed at precisely, on December 12th, 2020, at the time that they said. So we are seeing the debut of DeFi in this space, which for a lot of maybe XRP holders who haven't been following the DeFi space or previously following Ethereum, this is going to be really, really fun to learn about, because you are actually going to have a chance to participate in this. So you can participate, of course, with the coming of the Spark token. And that is really, this isn't just a quick grab of tokens and then, hodl them and then sell out. This is much bigger than that. This is where everyone, you, me, everyone has a chance to participate and build out solutions in this space that are absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, better than what is out there now. Right now, when you open up one of those IRAs, you have this monthly fee, right? Mm-hmm. You have this fee, this management fee. Sometimes you have these management fees that require you to maintain minimums that are not attainable for some people. And I'm just talking, that's just one of 100 use cases out there where the decentralization has more trust, is more efficient, is better for the user. And that's why I do believe that the insurance companies that are in that space now, or the companies that are providing, in order for them to stay competitive with the explosion of DeFi around the world, they too are going to have to offer DeFi solutions. You won't be paying that $29 fee anymore monthly to have someone manage your IRA. That's just really going to sound ridiculous in a couple of years, maybe even sooner than a couple of years.
Well, I would have to agree with you that the face or the user experience when interfacing with financial services, boy, it's sky's the limit. And to think that if the underpinning, the foundation level technology wise of all of these things is a speed and efficiency, right? A speed and efficiency that has never, ever in the history of financial services been present. We've always dealt with these interesting double entry accounting ledger things that have to always reconcile upon a later date. So, most of the time we don't recognize it when we go and use a Visa card to pay for our dinner at the restaurant. David Schwartz did a great analogy about this. They let you leave. The credit card company and the bank that is dealing with the restaurant and the payment processor, they deal with all that stuff after the fact, but it's not final and it's not clear. And each and every one of them in the process is getting a piece of that pie, right?
Correct.
Well, with this new technology, all that goes away. And it makes you wonder long-term, right? Long-term down the road when, let's say, wallets are ubiquitous. People are using wallets through their devices. Will there even be banks anymore? In the traditional sense, will there even be payment processors anymore? Will MoneyGram exist? Will Western Union exist? I would think the technology indicates that long-term, they're all gone.
I think they reinvent themselves. The smart ones, the ones that are forward thinking, and the ones that are paying attention to the space, they're going to adapt and change and reinvent themselves. So there's going to be some that are very successful because they have an established customer base, they have a brand name, they won't have to start from scratch. They can easily shift, but some will not shift. I mean, the perfect example everyone uses, but it's such a good example, is Kodak.
Kodak, exactly. Boy, they had it too, didn't they? They had an opportunity to own digital photography.
They owned the space, but they didn't make the moves that could have kept them on top. And this space is changing so fast. You're going to see these use cases with Flare and people building on top of that network. We're going to look back on this date a year from now, and I guarantee you 99.9% of the people are going to say, wow, I had no idea. Because we're not just talking finance either. We're talking about we're even talking about gaming. We're talking about everything. We're talking about everything. This is the next level, taking the best technologies from multiple blockchains and combining them to make, this is, you can use the train analogy, okay? You've got the steam locomotive, which got the rails down and moved freight and people from one side of the world to the other, but it was centralized. It was slow. It was clunky. It sometimes had delays. It was expensive for everyone to take a train trip, 70 years ago. So now you have bullet trains, and think about those bullet trains getting the same amount of people, but doing it in a fraction of the time with a fraction of the price. and 1,000 times more efficient. And so really, we're going to look back on this and we're going to say, gosh, I just had no idea what this decentralized solution was going to do for our world.
Yeah. You know, when we look at any new technology, or at least this is my view, this is how I approach these kind of things. And I think to myself, historically, new innovations have a tendency to kind of have this one particular paradigm play out over and over and over again. And that is, in the short term, we really overestimate what's going to happen, right? We predict more is going to happen than actually happens. But in the long term, we underestimate it. And so I don't know about a year from now, but I can tell you that I am truly excited that we are definitely on the path. All the network effects are starting to kick in. And at some point very soon, we will start hitting some of these like really monumental inflection points where
absolutely,
where things have changed forever, right? I think
no going back.
Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has brought hard assets back to the table. And coincidentally, in a time economically when they're the most, like, you couldn't ask for a better time to have hard assets available to you than in a world where every country is forced through monetary policy to debase their currency. They're forced to. There is no other choice. They have no other choice. Well, we've never before been able to opt out unless it was into gold. Well, now we can opt out into things that not only have fixed supply, but can also outperform anything in the legacy market as it pertains to creating yield. I mean, to me, this is remarkable to me. And I'm seeing it all over the place. I don't know if you're familiar with Cresco Fin, but they're a company out of Switzerland, and they take employment contracts, monetize them on a blockchain, get them insured through Lloyd's of London. The money they've lent out for the contracts that have been secured are now creating yield for savers who want to open savings accounts in their foreign currency, whatever that is, Swiss franc, US dollars, it doesn't matter. And they're creating these base level, very low risk, like what a savings account used to be, and you could get 3% on it. They're not high yield, but 3% is better than you can get in any bond market.
Yeah, it's very creative.
Unless it's the really high risk, high yield stuff that you kind of, companies that are on the verge of going bankrupt and this, that, and the other thing. So this world of financial services, this world of digital distributed ledger technology, it really is exciting. And I wanted to ask you, because you're boots on the ground, you're quintessentially the best researcher in the business, in my opinion. And I think it's a consensus opinion. I don't hold that by myself.
I'm not.
What are you seeing from one of our aces in the hole, right? The ace in the sleeve, SBI, and what they're doing with FX Coin, C2, B2, and the large Sumitomo Bank. Have you caught anything from that experiment? Any rumblings, how it went? Any word?
Well, the FX Coin, if you go to their website, they do a Wednesday Ripple wrap-up of the week. And then they also have a blog that'll keep you up to date on what they've done. There's 2 blogs already on the demo test that they did with remittances and using Sumitomo. You know, Sumitomo, do you know the word daibatsu? Do you know that?
No, but I'm eager to learn.
Well, I don't want to get into a history lesson here, but prior to, during the Edo period, there was Mitsubishi, there was the Mitsui clan or family, there was the Sumitomo family clan, These were the this was a power structure that came given from the shogunate, and those families ruled different domains. Sumitomo comes from that period of time. It was then forced, all the zaibatsus were forced to break up. It broke up, but it still then just kept in a silo, categorized kind of manner, all of their services. But instead of being centralized at one head, it was broken up into different ones. All of them did it. All of the big zaibatsus were broken up. I think most people are unaware how big Sumitomo is in terms of its respect within the traditional finance world, because they are insurance, they're a trust bank, they're got to have a real estate division. I mean, it's just huge. So it would be like, I mean, I would arguably say it has more power, or it has more ability to bring all of the traditional world into crypto like no other entity does. And so the fact that they're using their metals, they're into metals, which is not so much precious metals, but they have a metals division that does sheet metal for trains and cars, and metal plating for trains on the bottom. You know, they have a metals division. So this is the division that has locations all over the world that are doing remittances. It's their supply chain, it's their trade finance. And so little XRP is facilitating those remittances within that ecosystem, with Sumitomo behind, giving it the blessing, with SBI providing the XRP, and then FX is actually the platform that is making it all happen. So the person that's behind that platform has a huge vision. It's way beyond just remittances. He's going to build that swaps market so that people can actually use the platform so that crypto is incorporated into the swaps, which is 50% of the FX trade today is done in swaps. I don't know. That. Yeah, actually, arguably could be a little bit more depending on how you look at the swap market. And the fact that this ex-Deutsche Bank, he was on the FX committee here as a vice chairman in Japan. He's got an unbelievable background. He really understands the space. And so I think he's going to be very successful at it. And just looking at that use case alone and the utility it's going to bring and the liquidity that it's going to bring to the XRP ecosystem. And then you take Flare next to it, and then you take remittances, that is moving money for SMEs and also the individual workers that are out of their home countries and sending money back home. And then next to that, you have, we don't even know yet, but I could make a lot of very educated guesses what's coming. This is a huge thing. This is huge. It's bigger than, I think that's why I said a year from now, Jerry, you and I have this same conversation. And I'm telling you, 99% of the people who are in this space will say, gosh, I really just had no idea. This really does go beyond just simple transactions on a P2P basis. Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm pumped. I've been up since 3 o'clock this morning, and I've been on a lot of different calls prior to this one, and a lot of different people who are celebrating in a big way for this historical event that took place today.
The what's fascinating to me is infrastructure, right? I get really fascinated when I see things that are built around network effects. When I look at the architecture of something and see, okay, the actual architecture is dictating incentives for participation versus not, right? I mean, Bitcoin was beautiful. When Bitcoin came out, it was beautiful. However, all the real incentives for Bitcoin were in the mining area of Bitcoin, not the participant dealing in a payments type relationship where, Eddie, you make these incredible books. I love your books. So I want to buy your books. So
you're using an example.
I'm going to use this Bitcoin to pay you. Well, guess what? It's cheaper for me to do PayPal with US dollars and let them convert to you to yen than it is for me to use Bitcoin. So in other words, what I'm saying, the incentives in the Bitcoin network are for the miners. The only incentives I have as a participant outside of mining is that more people enter the network grows, the demand on the token grows, therefore the price of the token goes up.
Yeah.
All right. That's a supply and demand incentive based system, which it behooves me to get more people into the network so the network grows so that okay, great. We all familiar with that. When I look at Flare, what they're doing with their Flare network and what I see is designed for Flare finance, there seems to be in the architecture very distinct incentives to participate in the network. Not from, and it's not about mining, it's about liquidity. You are incentivized to participate with your liquidity in the network. And it doesn't matter if it's the, sorry, all this stuff is so new for me, Eddie. I don't have everything memorized. There is the FLR token. The backside Flare Finance is going to be the DFLR. Then we got FXRP, which is, and there's these ways and means where you've got originators and you've got, what's the other one? Somebody originates something and then somebody, an activist? No.
Oh, the agent.
Agent, thank you.
There are agents,
Where either side of this transaction, you're incentivized with your liquidity to participate in the network.
Yeah, I mean, and people are going to build solutions out there that will allow people who contribute to the success and to the completion of these smart contracts. There's going to be definitely rewards that are built in by these new creative solutions. I mean, this is just now a platform that developers are going to have a chance to seriously reinvent the world. And there'll be a nonprofit foundation that will be set up so that it addresses the functions, and that'll clearly be established. And those FTSOs, which are the agents, they are going to provide those oracles so that there's data coming from different sources, and it has a higher degree of trust than a centralized purveyor that would provide data. This is why I really believe that all the companies that are centralized right now, it doesn't matter if you're in finance or whatever you're in, you're going to move over to this decentralized world. That is for sure, because it enables a more trust, and you have these assurances of quality within the smart contract. And it's just going to be like, why would you go across the country in a steam locomotive engine when you can take a bullet train? You just won't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Unless you want to go down memory lane.
Right. I want to just take a quick second and welcome all the folks.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to name off everybody, and there's so many that
I don't know who's here. Sorry, I don't have that.
I want to say thank you so much, Simon, and thank you so much, Wade, for your super chats. And of course, all of you that have tuned in, you're leaving your comments. There's an entire conversation, Eddie, going on in this
I can't see it.
with each other. That's the downside. You can see it on YouTube, but it would be it would be.
It's okay. It'll distract.
It's really interesting because people are conversing with each other while you and I are having this conversation, and I absolutely love it. You know, many of my dear friends have signed in or are participating tonight with their chats. Brady is extremely busy in the chat. I see him conversing with 7 different people, and I see in the green room.
You have your guest?
Our guest, Bitrue Avenue, and I see her smiling from ear to ear. She's a huge fan of yours, by the way, Eddie. Let me introduce you to our lady on the street, Bitrue Ave. Hi, Bitrue.
Hi, everybody. Happy Friday.
So tell us what you heard so far, and do you have any questions for Crypto Eddie?
Oh my gosh. So a lot of I'm a big fan, as you said. He already told you, so I won't keep going with it. But so a lot of the questions that I have for Ari is actually, how do I do research? Like, that is what I'm wanting to gear it toward, because a lot of the times we get a question about, like, where are we heading? And hearing how confident, knowing how much research you've done and how confident you are at, with the market and where it's going is so exciting to hear, because obviously you have more information than most of us in the space, and you've been around it for so long. So I'm very excited about it. So it makes me want to do even more research and stick around even more and grow with the industry. So it's nice to hear that there's so much to come ahead. So yeah, it's so exciting.
There's a lot of people. I just spent 2 hours on a learning a lot, because this DeFi space is going to take a lot of time for a lot of us to get up to speed and really feel like we can talk about it as confidently as we talk about remittances. And we know that the remittances in getting everyone to understand that has been a challenge, right? We've got BTC maximalists out there. I don't use that word often, but we do have them that still don't understand how XRP is utilized and still believe that XRP ledger is, centralized. So when we know how much it took to get up to speed on really understanding the facts of this space, and now here we are faced with having to go up that steep learning curve again in DeFi. I know it's going to be, it's going to be a process. It's probably going to take a lot of education. But I was on this 2-hour call that Masari did, and Masari has had an axe to grind for a long time. But I will tell you that the Masari stream that was put out there is really good with Balaji, and he's very fair to discuss this space in a very professional manner. And so what everyone should really be doing to get up to speed is to go outside of the XRP community circle to tap into those that are in the Ethereum network is one good space to learn about DeFi, because they, have the most developers building on that right now. But I do believe, because the XRP ledger has quicker settlement, and the avalanche is going to be successful for the consensus, and all the people who will realize how superior Flare network will be, the amount of DeFi projects coming onto Flare is just going to explode. So if you really want to be able to understand the space, you're going to have to, for the beginning, in the most part, in these next few months, we have to go outside of the XRP community to get our knowledge right now on this space, because we're a little bit behind in really understanding. So the one thing that Balaji said in the last 30 seconds of that 2-hour video that he had is that we all should do our very best to learn how to do 140-second videos to educate everyone in this space. Not propaganda videos, but videos that will bring in the mass adoption from those people who, when they get the opportunity to learn about something that's new, you know, when you try to explain to someone about blockchain, sometimes you get that blank look on their face, right? Well, we're going to get that same blank look from everybody's face in the XRP community when you start talking about DeFi. So what Balaji said, and I know I'm kind of going crazy in my thought process with many trying to tell you many things at once, and I'm not being very concise, but what he said, and it really hit home with me, is that everyone should learn how to do 140-second videos for educating the space, because the institutional investors aren't going to educate, and the maximalists are not going to educate correctly. We should all take the responsibility to create this content to bring everybody up at a mass effort to get everyone up to speed on where we're going in this space. So when you say where, I guess go outside of the community right now in the beginning, get yourself up to speed, and then start making content.
That's some
Is
good
there,
advice.
yeah, is there a particular,
just real quick to put a cherry on the top of your question to Eddie. Eddie came on my show. We did an hour-long interview, and it was we didn't even really ever talk about anything other than her research habits,
my techniques,
tips and tricks, her techniques.
Yeah.
It went from looking in Saudi Arabia in Arab language and translating,
searching in various languages. Yeah.
Solid info. It's in my it's on my channel if you want it, like an in-depth tips and tricks and techniques for research by Crypto Eddie.
There's blockchain monkeys right there. And I have something to share with you. We both together, he and I had we had a private video, Zoom meeting, because VeChain had just come to the space.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I didn't totally understand what VeChain was doing. And neither did blockchain monkeys. And we were both like, yeah, like we need to really get our heads around this project. What's going on here? And we had this discussion, and I just remember going up that hill of learning about the supply chain and how you can validate it through blockchain, and how it is so valuable for those consumers to have verifiable proof that their product is real, especially when it comes to medicine and food. And so I just saw him, he was in there, and I can tell you, I don't know how long it's been, you'd have to ask him. It's well over a year ago that he and I just had this chat, and we're like, what is this project? I don't get it. Yeah, so we're kind of at that same stage now for getting everybody in the XRP community up on their level of knowledge for DeFi.
Yeah,
and everybody can contribute to it. Everybody has their own style, their own way. I was listening to the hip hop songs from Lady E. Mike, Crypto Mike was streaming very, very early this morning, like 4 o'clock in the morning for me. But I was hanging out and just listening to the music, and I was listening to It's Lady E, right? Is that right? Lady E? Yeah. If I'm wrong on the name. Anyway, I was thinking, oh my gosh, these lyrics are a form of education. It's teaching people what's happening with the lyrics. And Blockchain Monkeys too. He's got a very good song. And so this is a unique community, the XRP community. And I know that they have a thirst for knowledge. And I don't want to, Lady Enigma, thank you, Dakota. Yeah, her music was unbelievably good. And so that is a creative way to level up people's knowledge. She does it through music and lyrics. I think that's great. So that's my point. It's everybody doesn't have to do the 22-minute long YouTube video. There's so many other ways to do this education in this space. And because this community is really pretty, for the most part, one of the most cohesive groups of people. I mean, of course, like any group, you have sometimes those little cat fights, as Jerry and I were talking about before we went live. I have 4 cats. They all don't get along. So sometimes I have to really watch it before I do something live, because if they have a big cat fight in the middle of it. But that's to be expected with a community of this many people from so many corners of the world. Not everybody's going to always be on the same page, but we are on the same page more than most communities. And the community is huge. I think this is arguably the biggest cohesive community in crypto. And so the fact that we love to learn, and then we have so many talented people in this space. And I really think Balaji was correct. Yep, cohesive, intelligent, and inquisitive. Thank you, 416 Crypto. I know that we're going to bring everybody to be experts in DeFi. I predict that, and it'll happen in less than a year. It's going to happen. Yeah. Yeah, this is the next big thing. This is the next big thing, everyone.
Hey. What else do you got on your list? I know you always come prepared, so I'm just going to turn it back over to you, let you do your thing.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to be so talky.
Oh, you got plenty of time, Mitty.
I'm really pumped today.
That's awesome. If there's one thing that you can tell us about the DeFi space that you've learned recently that is like very exciting to you, what is it?
The fact that I don't have to pay those centralized fees in the near future for services that I use today. It's going to cost less. It's going to cost less. For me as a tiny little consumer, it's going to cost less. And I'm going to have a more secure, safe, trustless solution that will cost me less to transact.
Okay.
Wow.
You know,
this is
where, you know, people, and I'm not going to go crazy here with the next 5 minutes, but this is where people get it wrong with XRP. They think it's just benefiting the banks. It's not. It's putting more money in the pocket of immigrants who are working outside of their country, sending money back home to their families, and they don't have to spend 8 to 10% of their paycheck in fees. They actually now can do it for sometimes free, right? Some of those payment companies are offering free transactions, but it's a fraction of what it used to be. So we're going to see the DeFi space also. You're going to, and I'm not going to pick on those IRA companies that are providing managed, you know, retirement funds, but that $29 monthly fee is not going to cut the mustard very, very soon.
You bring up an interesting point. This space and the technology, not only as it pertains to remittances, but like, for instance, the whole paradigm of micropayments, the enterprise ability for somebody, Like I had, well, I don't know. I don't have permission to talk about this publicly. I can do it like this. I had a very long conversation today with somebody that had a business idea, and we walking through all of the finance and collateralization, this, that, and the other thing. There are little people, small people that don't have a lot of money, but they have great ideas. But to even get involved in enterprise level anything, it costs money.
Yeah.
The ability to microfinance, whether it be through payment or receiving payment or making a payment, both sides of that transaction, with the XRP ledger or even the XLM ledger, let's be honest, now brings a level of entrepreneurship to an entire segment of the world that has had incredible ideas, but did not have the quote unquote capital to really make this happen. And with a little bit of code and a little bit of elbow grease, new businesses can be launched.
Yeah, it's really the level playing
Yeah,
field.
exactly.
And I know that's become such a cliche term now. And it's okay though, because this is what the mantra has been for a long time, that the cryptocurrency space was actually going to enable a level playing field. And it does, but DeFi even does it even on steroids.
You know, I've known you, Eddie, personally for over a year plus, and through your YouTube channel for over 2 years. And there have been times where you've been excited about news, right? That this could equal something. I'll be honest though, nothing since the moment I started watching your videos have I seen you this hyped.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
it's
really,
coming out your eyeballs, and I love it.
I'm pumped. I'm on 3 hours of sleep, and it gave me goosebumps when that ledger closed. I got a similar chill when I saw the block that was mined for the halving. I participated as a participant watching one of the big miners, and I just hit on watching the miner who actually got the block. I mean, that was, I think it was a pool 7, the 7 group, right? I have to look, but I was so lucky, and they were the one that actually closed the block to mine, and then the halving took place, and that was one of those chill moments. Well, I can tell you, I had the same chill moment today when that ledger closed. I knew that this seriously was a historical moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bitta, what do you got for us?
So, as for someone that's coming into the space that's pretty new, what are some of the challenges that you see the new generation having and coming into the DeFi space? Because not just the DeFi, but like the crypto space in general, because we are very behind as far as the financial education.
Everybody was. I didn't really get interested into. I mean, I was always one of those people preferred to watch CNBC over old movie or anything else. So I've had a leaning towards the traditional finance, but never have I been, so interested since becoming an XRP holder. Don't tell me your age. I don't need to know your exact age, but you're in that 20 to 30 range.
Oh, no.
No.
I'm past that. I'm in my mid-30s.
Are you? Okay.
Yes.
Well, reason why is because I was just thinking that the people who are in their 20s to 30s now have much better information and access to information than my generation had. So I think that their adoption rate is going to be very, very fast. And the same with 30s to 40s too, I really believe. But the biggest problem we make, and I don't know how could we solve this with with, I'm thinking, how can we solve this problem with flare networks? Is that we don't educate kids in high school or even younger than that about personal finance. It's just kind of crazy, isn't it? We just don't do it. So, but I think that the adoption and the knowledge, that's why it goes back, it goes back to Balaji again. You have to make the 20 to 30-year-olds need to make content that attracts the 20 to 30-year-olds. The 30 to 40-year-olds need to make content that speaks to that generation. 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70. And then, some people will be able to cross over into multiple demographics. But I think that Balaji really had something when he said that what we all must do is our own personal research and then share by doing it in a way that is attracted to or attracts the particular market that you're trying to talk to, your audience. Know who your audience is and then make the content that fits. So I think the adoption is going to come quite quick for younger people. Don't you think?
I couldn't agree more. Eddie, you and I are in the same generation, and I so distinctly remember these monster innovations coming. First was the personal PC, right? And Apple was bringing out their first editions, and then the IBM software came out in Linux, and those what we would call PCs started coming, and they were cool and they could do a lot of stuff, but they were these little siloed things until the network came up, right?
Right.
The internet was around for 15, 20 years before it ever got plugged in, before a personal computer in somebody's house got plugged into it. And you and I both can distinctly remember living through having to get a CD-ROM, or a floppy disk, put it in our computer to load up the software that we could use a dial-up connection to get onto the internet. Right? And so as the adoption curve came, obviously the speed in which things accelerated, got magnified. The advantage we have in this particular technological revolution is that we have 20 years of the internet behind us. Information is at our fingertips. Mm-hmm. When the internet came out, information was not at your fingertips. Trust me. The only thing at your fingertips was your hand going on the phone so your brother, sister, mother, father wouldn't pick up the phone and cut off your dial-up connection. That was the only thing you had your finger on. People that are older will understand the humor in that joke. I don't expect you young folks to get that. But, the speed in which this adoption is taking place, I always hoped would happen, but I was always skeptical that it would. I've been in the space 3 years. It seemed like the first 2 years just were horrible for me. I mean, it was, my investments are underwater. Nothing's happening. There's all these promises of this partnership and this use case and this, but I'm not seeing anything real. And I look back now and I'm thinking, we've been progressing by leaps and bounds the entire time, and it looks like it's getting even faster and more furious as we go into 2021. Eddie,
yeah, with the COVID too, and people being home, there's a lot of people who are thinking about how to make a side gig from home. And now that we have Coil that can provide those, and not just using the Coil platform, but can you imagine what were you laughing? You got your face. What's going on?
You can't see, but I can.
Somebody in the green room.
We got somebody that came into the green room. This is a big Crypto Eddie fan. Can we take a break and bring in somebody who's coming from the stream into the studio? Let's welcome a regular on the chat, Mr. Dakota Shipley. Dakota, good to
Hello.
see you.
It's the first time for me, Dakota, to talk to you like this. Only it's been just through,
Oh my gosh, so
comments and
long.
DMs.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, I
hi.
want to say hello to Bitta officially. It's nice to finally
Hi.
meet you.
You too.
Thank you. Jerry, it's been a long time coming, but it's fantastic to finally get to see you. Now, Eddie, oh my gosh.
There you are.
2 years. 2 years. In 2019, once you couldn't go to Swell, that hit me hard because I know it hit you hard. I just
Yeah.
felt that. That's
Hit
crazy.
me hard emotionally, and it hit me
Yes.
hard financially.
Oh no.
Well, because of the ticket and the hotel and everything, it was just, a sunk cost. But I had
Absolutely.
the Tokyo meetup that was happening the following weekend, so that lifted my spirits because a lot of the crew from Ripple Swell event flew to Tokyo, and
Wow.
the people put on a really good meetup here. It was really good. And I got to meet a lot of people from the XRP community too. Yeah, boy, we partied.
That's fantastic.
I'm a big partier. I didn't crack any champagne open for today because it was still my coffee time. But if anyone comes to Tokyo, yeah, be careful. I'm a little dangerous sometimes.
Hey, count on it. Count on it. After Moon,
Yeah.
count on it.
I'm just forewarning everyone.
So, Dakota, since we've got you on, for a couple of minutes, what's your take? What's your spin? And what are you seeing from the entry of Flare Networks, Flare Finance, the introduction of the Spark token? What's your spin or take on what you see going on? You're a very intelligent, articulate man. I'd really like to hear your opinion.
Just as Crypto Eddie says, it's absolutely massive. I can't wait to dive in. I'm gonna assist in liquidity how I can, of course, but I'm just excited.
And I think that's
a lot.
such a great. That point you make is so important. That if people want to help this ecosystem and help XRP achieve its goals and to attain the potential to be a participant in the ecospace is really, really important. So I know some people just want to be hodlers. That's okay. I'm not going to make a division, but I just really want everyone to know that this is a kind of use case that you actually participate in.
Yeah.
And not just run a validator. You can run a validator, or you could be one of the agents. But I'm talking about just using that Spark token to actually, make those smart contracts work in a quality manner.
Absolutely. I'm also curious about the Flare Finance, I believe it is. I haven't done too much research myself, but
I'm going to be covering that a lot, I think, in the near future. Okay. But I can't really speak to it yet, not because I have information I'm holding back. It's just because that is, I think, still developing, but it is something that I personally am very, very interested in. And I'm not patting myself on the back, but, I was really supporting Spark before a lot of the people in this space. A lot of people were a little, what's the word?
Apprehensive.
Apprehensive, I guess, or suspicious. Is that
okay?
Is that maybe the word I'm looking for?
I think they were waiting for backing from Ripple. Ultimately, I think that's what.
Come on, people.
I know.
I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm not a sheep. Okay, I'm not going to just follow the crowd, and I don't think anyone in this space should follow the crowd, because that's just not a healthy way to approach this space. I don't like that. That actually, you can hear it in my voice. I'm a little irritated over that.
Yeah.
You know.
Can I jump in just for a second? And I'm looking at the clock, but I'm also sensing the vibe. I'm feeling the energy. So I'd like to ask you, for all of you that are in the chat right now and those members in the studio, can we go another 15 minutes and keep this party going, or does somebody have a heart out they need to respect?
I'm okay. I have no idea. Sometimes you can kind of tell if we've gone too long, if people are dropping out of the chat. I have no idea how many people.
Bigger. This is growing like this is a snowball going downhill.
Yeah, I can't see.
Avalanche protocol.
All right, I just want to ask because I want to be respectful. Okay. I want to be respectful, everybody. So,
I have a question. As far as people not, jumping into projects, I think most of the time it's because of lack of knowledge, as far as like not knowing what's going on. For me, when I was looking at the Spark token and they were talking about who's gonna be supporting it and things like that, I was a little scared because I just didn't have enough knowledge about it, and seeing like who was participating kind of like helped me get comfortable, because I haven't gotten to the point of knowing how to really do my own research. And I can't, when you look at information, how do you know if something is authentic? Like if it's like, is there something that you look at and say, okay, this is an actual document versus it's something that people have just put out there? Because it's really hard to distinguish between real information versus what's not real.
100% agree. 100% agree with you. Yeah, there's always going to be risk, right? Some people are more comfortable with risk than others.
Right.
I'm pretty high risk person. I don't think everyone is in the same position as I am that should do the same. But you're right. People are a little bit risk adverse, and it should be, because this is kind of a scammy place at times. Let's just be straight up with it. Not everything is safe, and not everything what you see on the surface isn't necessarily what's going on behind. But maybe because I had really, I'm just kind of thinking back when I was like Mickey B. Fresh when he first read the white paper. I just knew immediately, oh my God, this is just huge.
Yeah,
this is just huge.
The day it dropped, yeah.
And it's kind of the same feeling I got when I read the white paper on BTC too. I just like those moments where you just takes your breath away. So maybe it's because I have been really paying attention to the DeFi space prior to the announcement of Flare coming out. When you calculate the amount of hours I not only just do research, but I'm listening to so many content providers out there through podcasts and through YouTube videos and through anything that is outside of the XRP community space. So that's why I made that comment before, and I'll make it again, is that we can't be myopic in our focus for this space, because there's so much going on around us. I don't want to be one of those BTC maxis that think that the XRP ledger is centralized. I don't want to be one of those people who are wrong. So I'm
that was settled.
That's a clip. Brady, market timestamp. We're taking that out. It's going on Twitter tomorrow. That is brilliant.
Well, but even you might be surprised, but I still listen to Tone Vays.
Yeah, me too.
On a regular basis, even though he still just can't wrap his head around it. That's okay. But I really want to pay attention to what's happening in his world. And I'm paying attention now to what's happening in the world that people are like, Michael Arrington is one of those people who is really on top of, and Pantera Capital, they're on top. If you look at where the money is going,
Tim Draper is too.
Draper is really into it. Greg Kidd is
Greg
really.
Kidd's all over it.
Greg.
He's massive. All over. So if that's just kind of another little resource is to look at when you see a round of funding comes through, okay? Like Bitrue just got their 62 million announced yesterday. I got Miko crying at the door. I might have to go get her. When you see those announcements, go deeper into where that money's coming from. And who is bringing that money to the table, and then see all the rounds that they have received and the dates and the amounts and who is behind each one of those series, because it's usually led by one person, and they very often will have participants that go 4, 5, 6, 7 people deep, or VCs deep. And then go and look at their portfolios and look and see what they are investing in. And what have they exited out of? And, you know, how many active projects do they have going on? And what are those projects? I think I was doing that, of course, through research a year ago or more for DeFi. And so when I read the white paper, I knew, oh my God, this is for real. This is because I already knew that was what was happening out there already.
Well, I'll tell you.
Okay. I think sometimes what happens is like this information, I see that the people that are actually in the space and do the research are so excited about it. And the rest of us are just like, okay, because I don't think we understand how big it is. So maybe a month from now might hit me and I'm going to start doing a big dance. But right now I just don't know enough about it to like, I see that it is big because everybody's very excited, but like,
so
from an intellectual point, I just don't get it yet.
So here's what I would suggest. Start putting your thinking cap on. Think about what it is that you use right now that costs too much money. And then think about how a decentralized solution with a smart contract could solve that. And then start talking to people who are developers, engineers, people in marketing, and put your own team together and then make a proposal and start building out a solution. I mean, that's the incredible part we have right here, is that someone like you in 5 years could be part of a solution that you thought of. You thought to yourself, wow, I'm just paying too much money for this. You know, how can I reinvent this? And then hook up with some developers, some engineers, some people who are in marketing, and start brainstorming with a small team of 4, 5, 6 people and figure out how to solve that. And then take your proposal out there. Let me tell you, there's a lot of people with angel rounds and seed rounds looking for new ways to solve these problems. So you could be that person leading the next solution using DeFi. That's why it's so exciting.
Awesome.
Beautifully stated.
Absolutely. So I wanted to chime in so I often
dream it, we can code it. That's right, Gary.
Right on, Gary. I often look through life through the lens of a macro investor, trends, etc. And one of the things that really impressed me is how quickly this Flare Networks airdrop, when you look in the rearview mirror, how quickly so many participants in the industry, all these various exchanges got on board. Now, yes, that's great for XRP holders who are catching the airdrop. That's one element and it's wonderful, but I'm seeing way past that. What the genius of it is that they are now on those platforms.
They smelled success.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And also, they also worried about, let's be honest, they worried about XRP holders moving their XRP off their exchanges too. So some of this was very selfish for their business. They didn't want to lose the XRP holders.
Coinbase.
But also,
I'm talking about the genius of Flare doing it this way. The biggest hurdle for a new project
getting
is
the exchanges involved
to the marketplace. That is the biggest hurdle for a new project in this space, is access to the market. Well, look at what they did. They don't even have a product yet. I mean, they do, but it isn't.
Ethereum.
I think they're really, really close. Yeah. And when you see that Ethereum has already done the, hats off to the Ethereum developers and everybody who has already been carving out a decentralized solution out there. I mean, it's not like this is reinventing the wheel. This is a wheel, but it is one of those wheels that work in the rain and the snow and also sand, because it's combining these technologies. It has 3 elements that are combining the best of what they do. I mean, Ethereum, a lot of people are going to continue to develop on Ethereum, but in my opinion, the Flare Networks is a better solution.
Really, really interesting. So I'm looking at the clock and I'm thinking to myself, okay, Eddie, I want to keep you on for a second. There is a question for Bitta. I want to address it and give Bitta an opportunity for final thoughts before she goes back in the green room. Obviously, for Dakota. Then we'll finish up with you, Eddie, with your final thoughts. I'll bring in Brady and we'll do our normal closeout. Bitta, before you do your final thoughts, I've got a question from the audience for you.
Yeah, I'm going to get Miko here. Hang on just a second.
Yeah, I am definitely not a maxi of anything. I invest in different projects that I believe in. I'm not really one coin over another. I like that they all do different things, and I hold like 7 or 8 different kinds. So I'm not a maxi of any of them. So
you're just you're a fabulous maxi.
Sure.
All right, your final thoughts on the show, lady, before I put you into the green room.
Oh, I am just seeing them being so excited makes me very excited and wanting to learn even more. So I can't wait to get started. Right
on. Bitta, thank you so much. I'll see you back. Dakota, dude.
Hello.
I just want to let you know publicly and for everybody else, I have been so appreciative and grateful of your support for this channel since I started. Your insightful comments, your support and enthusiasm, whether it be in the comments of the videos or interacting on Twitter, and to finally get you to come into the studio on a night that you're finally not listening to us at work is an absolute joy. Thank you for taking the plug. What are your final thoughts, either for Crypto Eddie or for the audience, before we put you into the green room?
I mean, it's been a pleasure, of course. I do want to say thank you to both of you guys. Over the past couple of years or so, it's been a great learning opportunity, and I can't thank you guys enough. It's been fantastic.
Same. Thanks for your support.
You're a dream. Dakota, see you in the green room. Eddie, final thoughts from Tokyo, Japan.
Well, we are a global society, so I don't think of myself in Japan, right? I exist in a world that is very much representative of everybody who is in this space. From whatever corner of the world they are from. But I just think that I just will keep doing. By the way, I think I got my YouTube channel. I'll know for sure by the end of this month. I think I'm back on track with Google after 3 months of not getting any monetization. So I just wanted to let everyone know that I don't know if you knew, but I had been I had a invalid, what they call it? They call it an invalid traffic bot that attacked my channel. And so they demonetized me for 3 months. But I have had communication, and I think I'm back on track. I'll know for sure by I think the 23rd of this month, I should know. So that's a really good thing. And the reason why I bring that up is because even if I wasn't going to be monetized, I would still continue to do research. But I will continue to keep doing research. And I'm positive that my research is going to lean in towards the DeFi in this Flare networks and all of the development that's going to happen on top of that network. So I think I'll do my part for everyone in that way who doesn't have necessarily the time to do it. I love the research, so I love it.
You present a segment of this YouTube content creator universe that is unique. It really is unique. No, I mean, there are some people that do deep dives. The SPQR guys, they're willing to roll their sleeves up. Obviously, King Solomon is willing to roll his sleeves up. But there's a level of consistency that you've brought to the table, and I'm not, by praising you, I'm not diminishing anybody else. I want to be very clear about that. But you've taken this whole game to the next level. And I know sometimes I get a little squirmy when people praise me.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you are with that, but I'm just telling you, you deserve praise. I want to give it to you. And I know the community is extremely grateful for your approach, your professionalism, and your attitude throughout, whether we're in a bull market, bear market, it doesn't matter. You brought a smile and you've brought us some fluff at the end of your videos to kind of share who you are and the things you like and care about. And it's appreciated. So
I think during the bear market, the fluff was very much needed, right? Maybe not if we have a really strong bull run, it's probably not everybody's medicine. I think it was a good medicine for those really, really bad months that we endured. I think those days are over. Yeah, I'm really bullish.
Well, let's hope so. I mean, markets go up. I mean, things happen. Who knows? But I'm going to invite you to hang out for a little after chat in the green room. Yeah. And I'm going to ask Brady to put himself in because I don't know which device he's going to speak through. So Brady, come into the studio, and Eddie, we'll see you in a minute.
I think I figured it out. Ta-da.
You are here. Brady, final thoughts. What a stream, huh?
This is exciting. And it's very interesting that this conversation came to pass now, because I'm certainly in a different state of mind, even over this past week or so, than I was a few months ago. And Ari's point on maximalism kind of hit a note, and I had to write it down because she said it, and all the things came to mind. But essentially, it's don't be a maximalist on anything you do with your money. You want to spread it out. Yeah, spread out what you do with it and invest it wisely. And that can be in things like increasing your cash flow or trying to find assets that compound, or even, the crazy lottery tickets that we all dream of. Whatever it is, just make sure that you can sleep at night, because you never know what could happen and you can only do it once. So, increase your knowledge as quickly and as quick is key, but quality takes precedent. And I think that was one of the things that Bit is going to have to learn how to do, is figure out where is the quality information that she can absorb, and then use that in her investment strategy immediately. She may not see a return on it, but at least if she goes down the right rabbit holes, she may get what she's looking for. And those are my final thoughts.
Brady, thank you, my friend. I don't know which. Oh, there you are. Folks, thanks for tuning into Market Conversations. The whole premise and context of this show is to provide insight so that you as an investor can create better outcomes tomorrow from the things that we're learning today. Your participation and support of this channel is very much appreciated, and I'm very grateful. The truth of the matter is, there's a sense here for me that it is through my commitment on Friday nights for these live streams that I learn, because I have a responsibility to have at least some understanding of the topics that we're talking about, right? And so this journey for me as a learner to become a better investor, to become a more educated investor, has been one that I don't even think I fully will understand the magnitude of it for a while. I think it'll take some time for me to truly understand. I have a glimpse of that because currently I'm in the process of refiguring my quote unquote exit strategy. And I have a very well-known publicly broadcasted video on my channel of my exit strategy from a year and a half ago. And I'm looking at it now, and I think it's going to be completely different. My understandings have changed. I've grown. I've learned more. I have a deeper understanding of financial markets and this digital asset space and the tools that are starting to emerge from within it. I'm looking forward to bringing you that new insight and looking forward to the insights that you bring me that help me become a better investor. So on behalf of Crypto Eddie, Dakota, Beta Avenue, producer Deluxe Brady, and myself, Pura Vida, stay well, and we'll see you next week.